Welcome to another Fafnir guide. Today's guide is about branded Bystial. I thought DDD is already complicated to make a guide for, but this thing is even more difficult. This is an upgraded version of the previous branded Despia deck, typically you summon Mirror Jade. Set branded in red and pass.
Boring!
Now with the new support of the corrupted Ecclesia, the deck is even more fun to play. Before we continue, there are several stuff that you need to understand and to use to optimize yourself when playing this deck. This is very important if you're new to this deck. Number 1. Click your submenu. Game Settings. Duel. And set Self-Chain to on. Activation Confirmation to switch plus hold. And Activation Order Settings to on. All of this are required to do the combo of this deck, or else you messed up, and surrender button is always ready for you anytime. Number 2. Understand all the phases of a player's turn. There is a draw phase, standby phase, main phase 1. This is where most of the combo will be set up in this phase. Battle phase. If you are going first, this phase is turn off. Main phase 2. Same goes with this one, which means you go directly from main phase 1 to the last phase. But before you entering the last phase, make sure to toggle on, it's on the bottom right there, and then you can hit the end phase. This is the phase where you gonna finish your whole combo, because all of them are quick effects. Toggling on is necessary, or else the game won't recognize the effect that you need and skip it. That's all the stuff that I want you to prepare when playing this deck. The combo will not work if you miss this part. Here is the deck list that I use currently, link in description. For the deck profiles, since this is gonna be a long guide, I'm just gonna quickly explain what are branded Despia and Bystial is. Fallen of Albas, the main star of this deck, mostly used as the fusion material of this deck. When normal or special summon, you can fusion summon using opponent's monsters as the material, including and only Albas himself as the other material. Branded Fusion, used to fusion summon any Fallen of Albas monster, by sending the material including Fallen of Albas from deck. Notes it doesn't have to be sent to graveyard. Branded in White, fusion summon any fusion monster, using materials from hand or field, and must use at least one dragon monster. If you're gonna use Albas as the material, you can also banish the rest of the material from graveyard. Branded in Red, target any Despia or Fallen of Albas from graveyard. After that, add it to your hand and you can choose either to fusion summon or not. You can use any material from hand and field. It's not necessary to use the added cards, but the material will be banished after. Branded Lost. Whenever you fusion summon, you can add one Fallen of Albas, or one monster that mention it to your hand. Branded Opening. Discard one card to add or special summon one Despia monster from deck. You can banish this card from graveyard when your fusion monster is about to be destroyed by effect. Branded Retribution. Counter Trap. It negates any card's effect that special summon monsters. While in graveyard, you can banish this card to add any branded spell or trap from graveyard to hand. Branded Beast. The new support. You can tribute one dragon monster on your field and destroy one card your opponents control. The Alba's Fusion Monsters. Mirror Jade. Send one Fallen of Alba's fusion monster from extra deck, and banish one monster from field. Lubellion. On summon it can fusion summon, using any material from hand, field, graveyard or even banished, and return them to deck. Albion. On summon it can also fusion summon by banishing any material from hand, field or graveyard. Reinbrum. The new monsters. When an extra deck monster activate its effect, you can negate it, and after that you can choose to return one monster from field to hand. Next is the Despia cards. Aluber. on summon will let you to add any branded spell or trap from deck to hand. Tragedy, when send to graveyard or banish by card effect, will let you to add any Despia monster from deck to hand. Ad libitum, when used as a fusion material, you can activate its effect to special summon any Despia monster or level 8 or higher fusion monster from graveyard or banished. Blazing Cartesia, the new support. You can special summon this card if you have Albas on field or graveyard. You can quick effect fusion summon any level 8 or higher fusion monster using materials from hand or field. Herself is not necessary. The Despia fusion monsters. Masquerade, which is not a Despia monster. Every time your opponents activate a card they need to pay 600 life points. Despia Quiritus. Quick effect make every monster on the field attack becomes 0, except level 8 or higher fusion monster. Despia Proskenian. Quick effect target one extra deck monster in your opponent's graveyard, either banish it, or if it's summoned properly before, you can special summon it to your field. Granguinal. The new fusion monster. Also not a Despia monster. On summon you can send any level 6 or higher dark or light monster from deck or extra deck to graveyard. Next is the bestial cards. Bystial Lubellion. You can send this card to graveyard and add any bestial card from deck to hand. You can special summon this card from hand or graveyard by tributing one level 6 or higher dark dragon monster, and it can also activate any branded continuous spell or trap from deck to field. Magnamhut, on summon will let you to add another bestial from deck at the end phase. Druisworm. When send from field to graveyard you can target one special summon monster you opponents had, and send it to graveyard. Saronir. When send to graveyard from either hand, field or deck, you can send one bestial monster or one branded spell trap from deck to graveyard. Baldrake. If your opponents special summon an extra deck monster, you can tribute other monster you had, and banish one of the summoned monster. All the bestials except Lubellion can special summon from hand by banishing one light or dark monster from either graveyard. It becomes a quick effect if your opponents control a monster, perfect counter to Tearlaments. That's all there is. Before we jump into the combo section, here are the list of the hand cards combination that can start a full combo. Notice there is a primary cards and also a secondary cards. The full combo can only be done if you have at least one primary and one secondary on your hand. Yes, this deck's combo are mostly a 2 cards combo. But there are also some combo requires you to discard or return a card from hand to deck. So in every start of the combo I will put either -1 or -2 after the 2 cards requirements. When you play it in ranked match, make sure that you have the amount of cards that you need, or, if it's your other cards is worth to keep in your hand like Maxx C or Super Poly, then use other combo that have the least minus on it. Since all the primary cards will end up using the same cards, which is branded fusion, I will group all the combo using the secondary cards. There are 4 groups. Primary plus branded Lost, primary plus Cartesia, primary plus Mercourier, and lastly primary plus Bestials. Please note that branded opening is basically a branded fusion combo or Aluber combo but with an extra -1 from your hand. So if you see the combo is listed with -2 on it, it will becomes a -3 if you start with branded opening. Please be careful on that. Let's start with the primary plus branded Lost. Branded fusion plus branded Lost, -2. you can choose not to return any card with Reinbrum effect. Aluber Plus branded Lost, -3. Since we use our normal summon on Aluber and we don't possess Albas anymore, we can't special summon Cartesia, so we add Black Albion instead, and use it to send Albas to graveyard and get free draw. In here we can choose to return one Aluber to hand for follow-up next turn. Aluber Plus branded Lost. As you can see, I didn't put any minus at the start because this is the more simple combo than previous one. If you already have branded Fusion on your hand, you can search branded Lost instead. Since we have Albas in graveyard, we can special summon Cartesia. In here Granguinol will send red Albion. Do not forget to toggle on before end phase, and then we continue our combo in the end phase. Instead of setting it, we click no and add it to our hand because we toggle on. We directly activate branded in red, add back Albas and Fusion to Mirror Jade. Still toggle on. Activate Mirror Jade effect, send Brigrand, and chain it with Reinbrum, negate and do not return anything. Still toggle on. Activate Brigrand, we add Mercourier to hand. With these we got our Mirror Jade back online to banish for next turn because it was negated. Monster negate and extra deck monster negate plus return. If you forget to toggle on, you will skip all that in the end phase. Kitt Plus branded Lost, -1. Same goes as Aluber, you can search branded Lost instead. Remember, don't forget to toggle on. That's all for branded Lost combo. Next is Primary plus Cartesia. Branded Fusion plus Cartesia, -1. In here I use Fusion deployment as Cartesia. Branded Fusion plus Cartesia, -2. In here we normal summon Cartesia first so it will activatable Fusion to Lubellion by sending Albas and Mercourier here instead of Tragedy. Chain it to Cartesia, and Fusion with Lubellion to Granguinol. Pay attention here, we fusion summon Red Albion by returning both Cartesia and Albas to the deck, because we want to keep Lubellion in graveyard. Chain link 1 Red Albion and chain link 2 Granguinol. Gran will send Black Albion to graveyard. And Red Albion banish both Black Albion and Mercourier to summon Reinbrum. And then fusion both Kitt and Albion to Dragostapelia. End phase Albion set branded Retribution, and we can use both Red Albion and Lubellion in graveyard as Retribution cost to negate. Aluber plus Cartesia. This the most simple combo you can done, but you end up with decent board. It has no minus from your hand, so you can keep your hand traps and staples doing this combo. Kitt plus Cartesia -1. This basically the same combo like previous one, but -1 card. That's all for Cartesia Combo. Next is Primary plus Mercourier. Branded Fusion plus Mercourier, -2. Now we summon Red Albion by sending Albas and Bystial Lubell. Albion banish Mercourier from our hand and Albas in the graveyard to summon Lubellion. And return both Albas and Mercourier to summon Reinbram. Mercourier will add Cartesia. Tribute Red Albion to summon Bystial Lubell from grave. Activate its effect to activate Branded Lost from deck. Normal summon Cartesia. Fusion to Granguinol. Add Kitt and send Black Albion. Activate Black Albion and send second Albas from deck. Special summon Kitt and add Branded in white. Fusion summon second Albas with Granguinol to mirror Jade. Don't forget to toggling on. Send Brigrand and negate with Reinbram. but in here we return Bystial Lubell to our hand. Activate its effect again to add Bystial Magnamhut. Banish anything beside the fusion monster in graveyard, and summon Magnamhut to add another Bystial at the end phase. Add other Bystial. I prefer Baldrake. Add Mercourier, and set Retribution because we have to Alba's fusion in our grave. This end board is perfect for Tearlaments. We can use Bystial to banish their Tearlaments when fusioning in grave. We have Monster Negate. Retribution can also negate Tear's fusion summoning. Reenbrum can negate their Kitt Kalos and return it to extra deck and no milling. Mirror Jade can also be used to banish any Tearlaments monster you wanted on the field. Aluber plus Mercourier -2. Aluber plus Mercourier -2 and search Bystial. In here you required to have Despian Quiritus in your deck. Another perfect endboard fort Tierlements minus the Mirror Jade. Kitt plus Mercourier -2. That's all for Mercourier Combo. Next is Primary plus Bystial. This one have a lot of different combos, but it's way more simple among other combos. Branded Fusion plus Any Bystial -2. Branded Fusion Magnamhut -2. Branded Fusion plus Saronir. This one is a bit tricky. The goal is to add branded in white without using Kitt. Saronir send branded in white. Granguinol send Black Albion. Black Albion send Retribution. Activate Retribution to add branded in white to hand. In here, if you have a Bystial on your hand, I suggest you send Albion to set branded beast. Or else you can send Brigand to get an extra monster negate. Branded Fusion plus Lubell -2, a better version of Magnamhut combo. Aluber plus Any Bystial. Basically Aluber line almost the same like Branded Fusion. Aluber plus Magnamhut. Aluber plus Saronir. Aluber plus Lubell. In here, if you have branded Beast on your hand, you send Brigrand instead. If not, you send Red Albion to set branded Beast. Aluber plus Lubell -1. Kitt plus Any Bystial -1. Kitt combo also almost the same like Aluber. Kitt plus Magnamhut -1. Kitt plus Lubell -1. Kitt plus Saronir. That's all for the 2 cards combo package. Cartesia can become a backup starter if you don't open any of the primary cards. Cartesia plus Saronir. Cartesia plus Lubell. Fusion deployment plus tragedy. I believe there are still more like 3 cards combo with Cartesia, but I suggest you focus on this 2-card combo first, and that you can improvise with more playable cards on your hand. If you dealing with Maxx C, you can do branded fusion summon Reenbrum and pass. You will get an extra deck monster negate, plus Albas in graveyard. If Reenbrum send to graveyard during opponent's turn, you can resummon it, by banishing Albas from grave, or if you already used Reenbrum effect and your opponents control an extra deck monsters, you summon Albas instead and activate its effect to summon Mirror Jade after. But if you decided to challenge Maxx C, doing a normal combo is kinda suicide, since this deck doesn't have any staples negate. One evenly matched is enough to break this board. I suggest you do an Expulsion Lock combo. You only need these 2 cards added to your main deck, Branded Expulsion and Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. Notes that this could jeopardy the consistency of this deck, and also weak against Bystial. Do it at your own risk. If you're not familiar with this, you can check my old guide video on how to do Branded Expulsion Lock, but in this one will be with an updated support cards. Aluber -1. Keep in mind that we are under Maxx C. Extending your combo will risk your opponent draws a counter to our lock combo, like called Grave, DD Crow, or Bystial. Aluber plus Cartesia. Aluber plus Any Bystial -1. If you have Lubellion instead, just add Magnamhut to your hand. This is the most safest way to lock, since both of your gimmick puppet and the other monster are banished, called Grave, and Bystial cannot counter the lock. Branded Fusion plus Any Bystial -1. Same like previous combo. For your information, you could also send Gimmick Puppet Nightmare using Granguinol, which means there are still lot more way to lock combo your opponents while not under Maxx C, especially with the future Alba's fusion monster that are quite insane in my opinion. That's all the combo that I can provide for you. Next is tips and tricks. Alba Lenatus. Alba Lenatus is the only Alba's fusion monster that can use a summoning method, called Contact Summon. It's just like a kaiju, which means you don't need any effects to summon this card. As long as you have the material and the needed requirements is met, you can just summon it manually from extra deck. Alba Lenatus materials are Albas plus dragon monsters, and you can use your opponent's dragon monsters to summon this. You can just set your Fallen of Albas on the field, and contact summon them right away. Good against Dragonlink, Dragon Maid, Blackwing, and any other decks that are using dragons as their boss monsters. Fusion deployment can also be used to summon Albas from deck, and used him to fusion summon using opponent's monsters. Good when you going second as an early board breaker cards to activate. When you set Branded Beast, make sure to activate it before entering the main phase, because it works like Sea Stealth. You cannot activate the effects right away after you flipped up. This is what will happen if you activate it too late. Branded Lost have a cool effect where your opponents can't even respond to any of your effect right after you fusion summon, but these only works if your fusion summon is the very last thing happen. After you chain the effects, you can even chain Mirror Jade Banishing effect, just after it's summoned, and your opponents can't even respond to it. In order to make it works you need make sure that the fusion summoning is the chain link one. With Branded Lost, your branded fusion and all other fusion effects cannot be negated, except by an effect negate, like Ash Blossom. Branded Lost only protect your fusion effect from activation negate, but not effect negate. To see the full explanation of this you can check this short video's link in the top corner there. This one is not a tips nor a tricks, it's more like a warning. Usually people wait and keep their Ash Blossom for branded fusion if they know they are against a branded deck. It could totally shut down all of our combos. That's why there is no way to play around Ash, and the only way is to play through Ash, where most of the time people will Ash Blossom your branded fusion. And you must find a way to have a decent board. I cannot guide you about that because it really depends on your hand. But I can only give you a hint when your branded fusion get Ash. The one thing that really important for this deck is to get Albas in your possession outside from deck. Whether in your graveyard, field or your hand. So as long as you have Albas in your possession and of course another way to fusion summon with your Albas, you are good to go to summon a Mirror Jade or Rembrum, the two strongest Alba's fusion monster. There are a lot of way to get Albas in your possession from your deck. Both Branded Lost and Mercourier can let you to add Albas to your hand, or if you wanted it in your graveyard, you can add Black Albion instead, and Black Albion will send Albas to your graveyard and you get free draw. Granguinol can also send Black Albion to graveyard and Black Albion will do the same thing. Alright, thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and one last tips, please don't embarrass yourself by doing this.